have one other map that I wish I would have seen, or I wish this map would have come out a couple months ago, or I wish I would have how do I want to say this? Okay, let me put it to you this way. It is a Back to the Future map, and it looks awesome. The trailer looks good. It looks like it has a lot of good mechanics in it. I'm really excited about it. But here's the thing: I recently played a Back to the Future map by some guys that I have a little bit of history with in the map making community, and it was good, but it wasn't as good as this map looks like it's going to be. This map meaning the Back to the Future map that I have downloaded and is just waiting for me to get time to play it. And I really do want to play this other Back to the Future map, but somehow I feel like I can't role play it because I already played the other Back to the Future map, and so therefore this one it's like content I've already delivered. Whoa, that's a stormy. Actually, there is a major storm going on. Like the wind that was blowing rain against my house was amazing. It was awesome. And Matt's just sleeping right through it. He's really tired. He's at a drama camp, or he's going to a drama camp this summer, and they are putting on a musical. It's actually Sleeping Beauty, and he's so excited because he got one of the bigger roles, Prince Charming, or Prince Philip, I guess is his name. I don't know if they call him Prince Charming in that series, but he's loving it. And like 2 years ago, he had no interest in acting, singing, dancing. Like he really just had no interest in that. And now he is like all over it, and he is also, I was so proud when I heard this. I couldn't even believe it, but he was just casually talking to me over dinner, and he's telling me about how he was jumping off the diving board. And I'm like, wait a minute, whoa, hold on a second. You jumped off the diving board? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, because last summer when we went to the pool, you were afraid to even go up the stairs of the diving board. Well, everyone else was doing it, so, like peer pressure. I love it. I love peer pressure in this case. It has opened up my son's adventurous nature, and that is awesome because I'm an adventurous guy, and I want him to not miss out on life. And he is doing cannonballs off the diving board, and I was just so proud. Well, not only that, but swimming down to the bottom of the 12-foot deep section to retrieve a ball off the bottom of the pool, and then have enough kick power to swim back up without drowning is awesome. So awesome. I was on the swim team. I've always been into diving and doing quite stupid things on a diving board, in fact. And so I'm just beside myself with happiness that he's having these experiences. And it's things that a parent can't really teach a kid sometimes, that they have to learn on their own, that are the most rewarding. And then the parent can say, I told you so, which is a lot of fun for us. But yeah, so he's asleep, and he's sleeping through the storm. That was where I intended to go. But give you a little peek into my fatherly happiness. We are, I would say, with 80% certainty, going to be purchasing a pug dog for him, a puppy. He saw someone on YouTube with a pug, and he's never been, like, we had a lab before we moved, and he got along with the dog, but he didn't really, like, bond. He didn't really care that much about the dog, other than that the dog was there. Like, he didn't take it for walks or play with it, or he didn't really, didn't get into it that much, which is interesting because, like, he likes his stuffed animals and likes animals in general. He loves animals. But for whatever reason, he just didn't really bond with the dog. I guess it was more of my older son's dog. than Matt's, and the dog was the dog a year older than Matt or a year younger? I can't remember now. It's pretty sad that I can't remember that now. But they, and the dog liked Matt, but kind of sort of ambivalent, kind of ignored him too. So I guess it was mutual ignoration. So anyway, so Matt saw some YouTuber. I think it was Sunday or Peanut Butter Gaming. I can't remember now. Quite honestly, it's not a channel that I watch. But he likes it, and that person had a pug and did some videos with his pug. And Matt thought it was so cute, so he wants to get a pug. And we're about 80% convinced at this point. The two things holding me back have been their potential for sinus trouble. Not like human sinus trouble, but the dog itself, I guess, is just because of the way that its skin folds are pushed up against its face, I assume. It's prone to having to getting sinus troubles. So we're going to have to be extra diligent. Plus, like I said, we had a lab. I'm used to bigger dogs. And when we first got our first lab, this was our second lab actually. The first one we had put to sleep because it was really, unfortunately, it just had a temperament that you could not have around kids. It was one of these Anakin Skywalker things, which is pretty funny, not funny, but scary, because when I first got the dog, one of the first things I did was Photoshop him standing next to an adobe wall, casting a shadow on the wall of Darth Vader. And it turned out that he was so skittish and scared all the time. And like he hurt his leg at one point, and we were really good to him. Like, I mean, really good, probably too good to him. But at some point, he just couldn't really deal with things, and he started biting. And once he started biting, he bit 3 people, me, and then he bit my son, and then he also bit my wife. And it was like, okay, that's it. Can't have it. Got to put him down. We might have had other options, but I'll be honest with you. At the time, we couldn't even fathom, giving him up for adoption or anything, and having some other family with kids, at risk. We just couldn't do it. We just had to draw the line. And so, I don't know if people out there, Bongo Tez, if you get upset with that story. I know you're big into dogs, and we loved him, but he had some issue that we went to some training, and he just couldn't get over it. So anyway, we're probably going to pug. The other thing holding me back is we're struggling to find a really strongly qualified breeder that says and does the right things within a 4 to 6 at the worst hour drive. We found one that my wife's really strongly leaned towards in Oklahoma, which is like an 11-hour drive. I can't relish the fact of sitting in a car for 11 hours and then turning around and probably getting a pug, but not guaranteed, because once you get there, you could just find that the pug doesn't really, or the pup doesn't really attach to your family, and then we come home 11 hours back empty-handed with a upset child. I mean, I'm just not sure that I can deal with that. So that's kind of holding us back there. There are other pugs available in the Chicagoland area, but we've had mixed feelings about the post, or we're being very picky. Let me say that about the breeder and how they describe themselves and the dogs. Some of them just don't seem to be quite what we're looking for when it comes to owning a pug. So we don't want to take any chances. I mean, this is essentially, this is another member of our family, a life that we are agreeing to take responsibility for, that has no choice in who its parents will be, but we get to choose it. And so I feel that, you know, we have to really do what's best for it, not just ourselves. Okay, man, I'm going to have to terraform a lot of this. A lot more than I was hoping to. I want the player to come up here, and I want them to get about here and see the front of the temple with some cameras set up around here facing this way, and like a space age looking walkway into the temple itself. And then the main rest of the scene will unfold on the inside, leading out behind it and on to Test Tower. So I kind of want right about here. Here will be kind of the cliff's edge. So let's just dig it out while I talk. Guess I'm in a talking mood tonight. I didn't realize I was going to be in a talking mood. I thought I was just going to film for a few minutes and then go do something else, but maybe I'm getting back into it. Okay, these things need to go, first off. And I think I was supposed to break them top down. Sorry, I forgot who left me that comment. But we're going to take this out here for sure. Oh, I was going to go back and get iron for a water bucket just now. That's what I was about to do. So I could fill in some of this water, but I'll do that in a bit. This is all going to have to go. I can have sort of a natural looking cliff here. Am I out of shovels? I'm out of shovels. Okay. I'm all out of shovels. I'm all out of napkins. I'm riding a horse. I'm putting my bed down. I'm sleeping at night to ward off the monsters. And now I am back to making a shovel some more. Okay, we're going to make a lot of shovels. 2 of them to be exact. I have this issue with making like a lot of stuff in bulk and then not using it, wasting my materials. I feel like I would rather... Okay, let's see. This needs to be the lip up here. Oh, I know what oh, this is going to be nice. This is going to be cool looking. Alright, let's dig this out. Okay, so we're probably going to get a pug. I don't know. It might be a week or 2 more. It might be forever. One thing I kind of want to do, we've got a 4-day weekend coming up from work. 4th of July. Happy 4th to anyone watching it. This might actually be airing sometime around then. Oh yeah, that's a much better angle of the temple. Stop it! God. You may be one of the most annoying horses I've ever had. The displeasure of owning. Oh my gosh, people are going to say that I'm cruel to animals, and how could I get a pug? Trust me, I'm a really good dad. Okay, 4th of July, I kind of lost my train of thought because a freaking horse came up and bit me in the ear. But no matter. I'll just do a little more digging. Pug. Where was I going with that? I'm not doing a recap. Do you guys want to hear about some interesting things that happened when I was moving? I don't know how much of this I can say without upsetting my wife, basically, but man, she had it rough. So apparently, like a little while before we moved, like a week or 2, she like hurt her shoulder, and she kind of ignored it because it's like, okay, just a pain, whatever. It'll go away, it'll get better. And it wasn't really going away or getting better. But once we started really moving, uh, I think she strained it too much. Well, we basically found out that she had a slight tear in her rotator cuff, which I guess is really painful. And so she's dealing with that while we move, and going to the doctor and getting that investigated. Not to mention, MRI and some starting physical therapy and taking medicine, and also just being basically stranded out on the couch for a while. She's dealing with that, and a couple months ago, apparently she was driving in the car with her sister and got pulled over for speeding, which, not a big deal. It was not that big a deal, but her sister's in the passenger seat, and she's like, okay, get the insurance card out of the glove box, because we always keep it there in this like red plastic thing with a clear front, so it's very easy to get, and it's always up to date. As soon as we get the new one, we put it in the car, whatever. But her sister couldn't find it, and they were frazzled or whatever. I don't know. But she's like, it's not here. I can't find it. I don't see it. And so then the cop came up and started doing this and that. Well, my wife gets a ticket for not having insurance, driving without insurance. I'm like, what the heck? Why did you let yourself get a ticket? You had insurance. Because here in the U.S., it's illegal to drive without insurance, which is good. Ultimately, it's a good thing, but it's a little bit annoying that every 3 months you have to get a new card from our insurance company. And you have to always have the latest card with you to prove it. But anyway, so she got a ticket, and she had insurance, so she knew she would have to go to court because of the ticket anyway. And so she's like, okay, I'll just bring my proof of insurance, and that'll get thrown out because she really was insured at the time, whatever. Well, the court date came, and like she forgot about it, and she was also sick that week or something. I don't actually know how she didn't go, because I wasn't home. I was traveling that week for work. And so now she missed her court date, and she, which basically they said, okay, if you don't take care of this within X number of days, then your license will be suspended. And so she, as soon as we got that letter, she's like, oh my God, I missed my court date, whatever. She goes into the courthouse, and gets it taken care of, shows them the proof of insurance, pays whatever fine, gets it all taken care of. So that was a couple months ago. No big deal, right? Right. So it's one of the days that we're packing, and she leaves the house to go get her MRI on her shoulder. And I was like, do you want me to go with you? She basically no, because I was getting stuff done, and she's like, I'm just going to go. I'll get it. I'll be right back, whatever. Or no, she went to the doctor. That's what it was. She goes to the doctor to talk about results of x-rays and stuff. And she texts me. So I get this text. I don't know. It was in the morning. I get this text that says I'm going from the doctor's to this other facility to get an MRI. It was like she was at like a walk-in care or something. I don't know. And then like 15, 20 minutes later, I get a phone call. So I'm like, oh, okay, she's calling to give me an update. And I answer the phone, and she's crying. I'm like, what? Well, what's wrong? She's like, I'm in jail. I'm like, what? I'm like, I thought you were going to get an MRI. What are you doing in jail? Like that was my instinct. And I'm just flabbergasted, because neither of us have ever been anywhere near any sort of issue being in jail. I'm like, what, wait, what? And like, these images of Orange is the New Black are going through my head, which I've only seen a few episodes, but I was like, okay, yeah, that's the different. You know, I don't know what to think. So I'm freaking out, and I'm like trying to be very calm and supportive. Like, what happened? Are you okay? You know, I'm thinking she like hit somebody and then like ran from the cops or something. I was like, I couldn't even fathom. Like, in jail? Like what? And so she's like, she's crying. She's like, you know, yes, you know, you need to come and get me because they said my license is suspended. I'm driving without a license. And I'm like, what? And so, you know, basically the cops even said like they've never heard of such a thing. But in the system, even though she got it taken care of, it never got taken care of. So in the system, her license was suspended, and they had to take her in. They cuffed her, they frisked her, they put her in the squad car. They left our car on the side of the road. Actually, they pulled over in like this little parking area, but they left it there. So she's like, I have no way of getting from the police station to the car, but also I can't drive. And I'm just sitting there like, I'm sweaty, I'm dirty, I've just been packing boxes and doing whatever. I don't even remember what I was doing. And I'm like, wait, I'm like, so seriously, I have to drive like, I'm like, where? And she tells me the city she's in, which is like 20 minutes away in the opposite direction of where I thought she's going, because that's where they had to take her or whatever. I'm like, oh my gosh, this isn't. I'm like, don't worry, I'm coming. You know, it'll be fine. So I jump in the car looking like a mess. I'm like, this is probably not the best view I want to give to this place. And oh, by the way, oh, now I remember why I didn't go, because Matt was home. So I was watching Matt at home while I was packing. And so I'm like, well, sorry, bud, you have to come with me because we can't. Mom, you know, Mom needs me to pick her up. She went to the doctor. She needs me to pick her up. And then I'm like, well, wait a second. So I'm going to drive out there, but how are we going to get the second car home? So then I have to get my older son to drive me there. We only have one car, and she had it, and then he has his car. So I had to get him to drive me to the station, and then luckily she's like, okay, they're releasing me, so just come outside. Don't come inside. I'm waiting outside. She didn't want Matt to know what was really going on, because at that point she was freaked out, you know. So that happened. So we got the car, um, and then she called up, and they kind of told her like how to go and get it taken care of. She's going to have to go call the state and get the suspension officially in the record. So she starts that process, and a couple days later, so like that I was already super stressed, by the way, from getting ready to move, and that really just put some icing on the cake for me. That now she really shouldn't be driving, and so a couple days go by. I'm trying to think. This was a couple days before moving day. Now it is the day before moving day. Yeah, it was the day before moving day. And my son had started his camp. And she had, oh no, I know what it was. She was going to, she was going to take him to camp, and then she was going to do something related to her license. Like, I think she was going to the DMV. I don't know. Anyway, so she drove. She drove because she needed to drive. And guess what happened? She was involved in a minor collision. Where's that guy? He's burning up in the sun somewhere. Excuse me. So I get another call. I'm in jail again. Like, what? I'm like, if you really liked it there so much, why did you have me pick you up last time? You can just stay there. I mean, I'm joking. She didn't appreciate that, but I thought it was funny. But anyway, it was like, oh my gosh, this is the worst ever. So she's dealing with her, and her arm was getting progressively more sore. Anything that she did to help pack. So I was finally like, you know what, just, don't, just go rest, take care of yourself. I'm doing the packing, blah blah blah. And so that happened, and then, uh, she has this run in with the law, and she's like, oh my god, it was just amazing. It was just amazing. There was something else that actually happened. There was actually something else that happened too that was like, this is the best moving trip ever. Like, this is just everything that could possibly go wrong was going wrong. And that's how it is when you move. I mean, let's face it. That's just the perils of being no longer homeowner. But the move itself, I guess, was executed fine. No issues. Nothing major broken. Finished basically on time. Paid the movers more than I had hoped, because it did take a little bit longer than I was hoping, because we had so much junk, literally. Threw a lot of stuff out, but some of it you just can't do it. So that happened.